Hi, everybody. It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to do a brief video on Uranus going into or ingressing into the new sign of Gemini from Taurus. I will be giving updates monthly as new transits occur with Uranus and Gemini to other planets. I'm just going to keep this brief. There's a lot of other videos out there, but I'm going to keep it brief, and then I'm going to go straight into the sun signs and or ascendants to see how this may affect you in your life. All right, so when we talk about, well, when does this start? So Uranus goes into or ingresses into Gemini on the 7th of July, 2025 at 12:48 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it will be conjunct to Venus at this time and trine Pluto, which will be at 3 degrees of Aquarius. It will stay in Gemini until August 2032, and then it will go into the sign of Cancer and rock and roll into Cancer. So what in the past has this emphasized, or what in the past was brought up or was happening in our world in terms of world events? Now, there were a lot of things, but probably the biggest thing, the last time that Uranus was in Gemini was between 1941 and 1949. And most of us know that this is during the time of World War II, as well as the aftermath of dividing up the countries. A lot of people forget about that 48-49 was involved with dividing up a lot of the countries that, are now at odds with each other or even at war with each other. So I think all this may be emphasized. It doesn't mean that we're going to necessarily have another world war, but it does speak to that time. And I think what's going to be brought up is the division of all the different countries at that time and the fallout that's happened in the last 80-some years, resulting in now more issues in those countries. That's my personal feeling. But certainly Uranus likes to shake things up. It likes to wake us up. When it's in Gemini, Gemini is all about communications, right? So what can we be looking for? We can be looking for an increase in science and technology innovations. Unusual communications of some sort may happen. Certainly AI and anything related to AI is just going to skyrocket between now and 2032. With new things coming in that we haven't even thought of this year in 2025. It can also bring in news about outer space because Uranus does really refer to everything above the Earth. Communications really sped up. Our everyday world will be constantly changing. That's kind of what this, as an overarching kind of energy, brings up for us. But it can also, on more of an esoteric level or spiritual level, bring up talking with God, right? However we define our God in our life. And we've just had a new pope that has been brought our way. And it's interesting because this Pope, Leo the 14th, does have some interesting aspect. We don't have his time of birth as of yet, but hopefully we will get it. And I may actually do a video on it if we get the time of birth. But he does, even if we don't have the time, we know certain planets, certainly the outer planets, aren't going to change much, no matter what the time is. And so it's interesting. Now, what he's got is a generational effect that I'm going to talk about next, but it is in his chart too. And so, we've got transiting Pluto that is in Aquarius. And opposite Aquarius, of course, is Leo. And so he was born in 1955. So many people in 55, 56, and I think maybe even in 54 will have this aspect of Uranus around the 1 degree, 2 degree mark of Leo. And so with Pluto, opposite that, it does emphasize his chart, but it also emphasizes, like I said, a generational effect too. And so what it does is it has this opposition, it's electrifying transformational thing as well. And when we look at transiting Uranus in July, when it goes into Gemini, it's going to be sextiling his Uranus at that time as well. So to me, this is really speaking about him potentially bringing in, at the highest level, a lot of enlightenment. But as he's viewed in many ways as a conduit of God in some respects, however you want to look at that, I really saw this as he coming in to potentially influence our world in a very positive way, but from a standpoint of enlightening us, right? And I think we can all, no matter what our religious beliefs or philosophical beliefs are, that could be a great thing. So I see, just generally speaking, there's a lot of inspiration that he could bring in, an enlightenment, just being the Pope and his influence to over a billion of people. All right. So when we look at other things that are happening, we've also got Uranus, as I mentioned, in this sign of Gemini, will sextile anything in Aries. And of course, we know that both, at least for the next 3 years or more, we're going to have both Saturn and Neptune that will be in Aries, sextiling that Uranus too, on and off. Now, Saturn will move a lot faster, and Saturn only stays in a sign about 3 years or so. And then, of course, Neptune will be left for many years after that, pulsating away as a sextile to Uranus. And as I mentioned, I will bring up, real positive information about any transit regarding any of these planets on a monthly basis for you. But certainly, with the Uranus providing sextiles to both Saturn and Neptune, this supports freedom, revolution, breaking out of ruts, and especially with the old guard, that's the Saturn part of it. So what does that mean? It means there's going to be some positive opportunities to transform and change up, break down institutions and government as well. So they're all going to be forced into this big change happening. And change can come in unusual ways, right? There's a full effect of this the last week of April 2026, but we'll have a peak of it prior to that in August 2025, where we'll have all three of these planets closely aligned. So that's Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, but they're aligned in a sextile. So these are positive opportunities. So August this year could produce some real positive opportunities to see positive change, especially in the old guard and our old institutions. And on a personal level, old structures that have been in our life forever that really probably aren't helping us, they need to go away. Now, as I mentioned, Saturn in Aries does move quickly. And in 2026, leaving the dance of possibilities and opportunities now more between Uranus and Neptune. So the Uranus-Neptune is going to bring in sudden breakthroughs in the unseen. Psychology could have a new revival here. New forms of psychology could emerge as well that are very inspirational and are outside the box as what we know now. But it can also bring in, with the Neptune part of it, is new breakthroughs in immunology as well. And there could be sudden inspiration from the conduit of religion and philosophy as well. All right, I'm going to move on now to the ascendants and our sun signs. You pick which one you want. I suggest you do both. Start off with your ascendant and or rising sign. That'll give you the area of life that this Uranus transit is operating in. And then looking at your sun sign, it just gives you maybe some more information that supports the area of your life that you're looking at. So when we look at you, Gemini, Uranus is now in your sign. And so from July onwards to 2032, you're going to have this influence. Now, Uranus wants to shake you up and wake you up to new possibilities for you. And so you've got to remember that when Uranus operates, it does this in a very fast manner. Unlike Pluto that works more slowly, Uranus tends to bring stuff in, shake stuff up, take stuff out fairly quickly. And so you've got this in your first house. So this says you could have a number of things happen. Unusual things that help you turn things around in your life that come out of the blue. And these don't have to be negative things, Gemini. This can also bring, at a really high level, great enlightenment where you communicate literally with the universe, right? That can come in here as well. But change is afoot for you. And the best thing I can do is say that, in advance of this happening in July, Gemini, if you're listening to this before that time, maybe spend some time thinking about, well, what do you want freedom from? What do you want to be shaken up and changed in your life? Especially what needs to be changed in your life? This might be a good time to be putting together a vision board of some sort for some Geminis, if that appeals to you. But certainly this is going to usher in big change into your life and hopefully put you on a footing that is much more in tune with who you are. Now, I'm going to cover also the fact that at the same time as Uranus is in here, certainly for the next 3 years or so, we'll also have Neptune and Saturn. Saturn will then leave after 3 years and leave Neptune here. Now we're talking about it's your 11th house. And this sextiles your sign. So this is a beautiful setup for you, Gemini. This ushers in a supporting energy for that Uranus in your first house. But it comes through your 11th house of friends and the groups you belong to, as well as your hopes, dreams, and wishes. At its highest, Gemini, you are going to manifest your hopes, dreams, and wishes over the next few years, especially as Saturn stays in that 11th house where it brings a structure in and makes things real for you. So dream big, Gemini, is what I would do. Dream big. Now, when you get this sextile happening in your 11th house, it says that, first of all, Saturn represents potentially older friends. The Neptune part of it suggests spiritual, philosophical, that type of thing as well. But, it can also bring in, let's just say there's some Geminis that are involved in the artistic community, music, dance, and or sculpture can be brought in here too. All these types of things could get an unusual shakeup from your first house to make them be manifested, right, over the next 3 years. Now, I did do a Gemini, I did do a video for the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, so you can I put the link down here below, you can take a look at that. The manifestation of that in exact degrees happens in February 2026. And of course, at that time, it will be beaming energy to your first house. So February could be an important month for you, Gemini, to manifest your dreams, your hopes and wishes. But it can also manifest these types of friends, very spiritually enlightened friends that might be a little older than you. You may also want to consider, Gemini, what groups should I belong to here that are important for my transformation, and those that can inspire me, or that I can inspire them for that matter, and bring some enlightenment their way. Take care, Gemini. So Cancer, that whole Uranus in Gemini is in your 12th house. But hey, Cancer, don't forget, it will go into your sign in 2032 and start shaking up your life, right? So this might be a time, Cancer, for you to shake up and shake out all those old carpets and everything underneath the carpet. Time for you to clean all that up, right? With Uranus will help you see what needs to be let go of. 12th house with Uranus there really says to me, letting go of things that are tripping you up, generally speaking. Now, on another level, this can bring in some great enlightenment with regards to any metaphysical area of your life. So if you were involved in anything metaphysical, and that includes things like maybe a yoga practice of some sort, astrology, tarot, shamanism of any sort, but any of those kinds of mystical, metaphysical areas of life, this could be very positive for you to develop that, right? And give you opportunities that come out of the blue to make some of these things happen for yourself. You could also be working behind the scenes, Cancer, either in your job or the things that you do day to day, your tasks to shake up certain behind the scenes organizations. What are those? That could be hospitals, that could be ashrams, prisons, even government offices, where you work behind the scenes to shake things up. The Saturn, Neptune squares in Aries, squares you. And so there may be some challenges here that come in to affect you that, you have to deal with. Now, these challenges could come through your career, but maybe what you're doing is shaking up behind the scenes some career path that needs to be shaken up, on a worldwide level. And it's a little bit of an uphill battle sometimes too, especially as you trying to put reality around a situation that's maybe existed for a long time, some old situation. You may be involved in making those changes. It doesn't mean you're not going to be able to do it. I would say working with others is okay, but you're going to have your own ideas with that Aries part of it, right? But this is a long influence of 3 years, the square part of it. So, I would say just work hard during those 3 years, whatever it is that you need to either change in your personal career or maybe change in the career choice that people are making, that the career itself has to be changed in some way. And you're able to assist with some parts of that old archaic stuff of the career dissolving and putting in some more inspiration, inspiring others through your career. Could manifest for you, even with that square. Take care, Cancer. So Leo, when we look at that whole Uranus and Gemini, well, it sextiles you, and it involves your 11th house. So this automatically says that friends could be of great benefit for you to give you opportunities for enlightenment at its highest level, opportunities to break free, to change up, even to revolutionize yourself. But the idea is that it comes through friends. It comes through the groups you belong to. And indeed, some of these groups that you belong to maybe will change themselves. Maybe they will shake up and change. And as a result of the change, give you opportunities. Difficult to kind of see right now how all that will spell out or play out. But the other thing is the 11th house is hopes, dreams, and wishes. So for some Leos, you may have the opportunity to manifest those. You may manifest those through the groups you belong to and or the friends that you have. But as a general theme, this is a positive thing where you'll be given opportunities to make your dreams come true. And coupled with that, I've already made a video on Saturn conjunct Neptune. You can see the link below, but I wanted to include this in because it kind of is happening at the same time, at least for a few years. The Saturn-Neptune is going to trine you, Leo, and involve your 9th house. So supporting that whole Uranus and Gemini in your 11th house are potentially 9th house matters. And that's a trine, so that's favorable for you. It says to me that you may get the opportunity to dissolve a few things that work positively to make your dreams come true. What are those things that you may positively dissolve? Legal matters of some sort may just disappear. You may finish off something with regards to a higher level degree of some sort that you've worked hard on. It could also be travel of some sort, or foreign people, foreign things come into the mix in some way. Maybe some way you've been dealing with them gets changed up here in a positive way and becomes more inspirational. I think the thing here that it says to me is that through great inspiration, And this could be inspiration through philosophical beliefs type energy as well. That supports your hopes, dreams, and wishes here too, because they both go on at the same time, right? But certainly travel could be up for some Leos as well, with the ninth house being the house of travel, right? Travel to sunny places, that's very Leo-like, and having fun. And I mean, the ninth house also represents, at its highest meaning in life. So you could really let go of some old ways that maybe you were forced to keep regarding your meaning in life. And as Saturn falls away over these next 3 years, and Neptune remains there in your ninth house, this is great inspiration with regards to maybe having some fun, maybe enjoying yourself more, right? Take care, Leo. So Virgo, that Uranus and Gemini squares you, and it involves your 10th house. So there's going to be some Virgos that really want to put some effort in to break through, break free, maybe even break into a new career. And that new career could be very Gemini-like. Gemini is what? Communications of all sort, writing. It can also involve short journeys, as well as sales and commerce type initiatives too. Now, the square says that you're going to have to put some effort into it. There may be some challenges to do this, but it doesn't mean it won't happen, right? It just doesn't mean that. The square always involves that it's not all straightforward. It's not all you just walk through a door and it all happens. And that's okay. But, Uranus can also bring a lot of enlightenment. So there may be, through the periods of hard work and challenges, there may be these very bright sparks of enlightenment that come through for you that help you see your way. It's kind of like that tarot card of the Hermit, where the Hermit is holding up the sort of like the light to light up your path. So I get that idea with Uranus and your 10th house square. Your path will be lit up. You just need to observe it and work with it. And maybe you'll be tasked to change up, say, the career area that you're working in. Maybe it does need to be shaken up, and you're going to get involved in it. Not everyone's going to be happy about losing the old way of maybe doing a career, but you're introducing some new innovative ways of doing it. And this might be through science and technology for some Virgos. Go for it, Virgo. With Neptune and Saturn together here, or Saturn and Neptune in your 8th house, well, certainly for 3 years, you may work hard at dissolving some obligation you have in your 8th house, but after 3 years, that goes away. And that could be something as simple as, say, a mortgage. You finish off your mortgage in 3 years, and you're left with this beautiful home by the sea. That's very Neptune. I mean, that's a simplistic way of looking at it, but it could literally happen. It could also have other folks getting rid of all your credit card debt. So Saturn is the debt. Neptune provides you the impetus as well as inspiration to get rid of the debt over the next 3 years. But it can also give you the inspiration to maybe put some more structure around your saved finances, your investments, 401ks, that type of thing too. I mean, you still have eclipses happening in your sign, Virgo, as well as the opposite sign of Pisces. So certainly for the remaining of 2025 and into a little bit of 2026, there's going to still be shakeups regarding you as well as your partnerships and any other person, right? So you've got an added change type thing with the eclipses too, Virgo. All right. Take care, Virgo. So Libra, that whole Uranus Gemini forms this very favorable trine with you and involves your 9th house. Wow. This could literally bring in meaning in your life, in whatever you want to be bringing in. That's what this could bring at its very highest level. Trines are super positive energy. You don't have to work hard at them. For others, it may bring up some big change with regards, a positive change, with regards to what? Legal matters. Anything foreign related. It can also bring in a positive change. Say you're trying to get a green card passport, a visa of some sort, positive, out of the blue, unexpected happenings to make it happen. This can also bring in anything regarding travel. But whatever changes in travel happen, it'll be for you in a positive way. Also, anything to do with higher education, publishing, all these things. You could have unexpected positive things happening in all these areas, Libra, that just support you. Yeah, very positive. So briefly, if we look at the Saturn-Neptune influence in Aries, well, Aries is opposite to you, and that involves the 7th house. Now, I did a video already on the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. You can see the link below. But just briefly, this is going to put a focus on your partnerships, your business partnerships, your marriage, and your clients. If you've got clients, it could be individual or all of these things. But it could be that something as simple as your marriage partner is dissolving some structure in their life and you're having to be involved in it. It could be something as simple as you are dissolving a business partnership at this time, and over the next 3 years, that's what you do. It could be your clients, where you decide you want to change up who your clients are, or your clients are leaving for whatever reason, and you're inspired to put new structure in place here. That maybe provides a more inspirational role, maybe even a metaphysical type role too. A spiritual type role comes into focus for you. I discussed that more in my video below for the Saturn-Neptune, but I thought I'd mention it because both these are going on at the same time, at least together over the next few years. Take care, Libra. So Scorpio, when we look at Uranus in Gemini, that is your 8th house. So we're having enlightenment, shakeups, breakups happening in your 8th house. 8th house, like the 2nd house, is viewed as a financial house, but it's with other people. So this could have you being, woken up with regards to your finances. Maybe something unusual happens out of the blue where you get an opportunity to get a pension, to invest in something that you hadn't thought of. And maybe this investment is something to do with science and technology, and you decide to take it up, and it's very positive for you, right? There's not a direct effect except that Uranus is sitting in your house, right? The 8th house. It could also be a time that, there could be volatility with regards to some of your investments, but it can go either way with Uranus. It could be negative, but it can be positive as well. So I guess if it was me and I had this, I would try to be conservative on my investments at this time, generally speaking. But it can bring in some unexpected money your way. Don't think it can't. And the 8th house is the house of inheritance. So there's going to be some Scorpios that over those years, up to 2032, you may have an inheritance unexpectedly come your way. Now, that's the most positive side that can happen here, right? But certainly when we've got Saturn and Neptune together also at the same time, that energy, that involves your 6th house. And so you may be dissolving some relationships with regards to the day-to-day job that you do. Hey, you might even be involved in dissolving some aspects of your workplace for some reason. Maybe there's some departments merging together, and the Saturn-Neptune has you being tasked to do that. But on a more realistic level, it could have you dissolving the traditional workplace, that's the Saturn, and you becoming a much more inspirational person at work, or that you're doing things that are more involved with, say, charities or compassionate type projects. That's the 6th house. I've done a video on some of this already. I put the links below, but I thought I would mention it because both these energies are in at the same time. Uranus is in your 8th house. Take care, Scorpio. So Sagittarius. Well, we know that Gemini is your opposite sign in your 7th house. And so you're going to have these shaking up and waking up happening with regards to partnerships. And this doesn't have to be a bad thing. I mean, it could be also, hey, Uranus in your 7th house could unexpectedly bring in a marriage partner. But it can also unexpectedly bring out a marriage partner, take out a business partner, have you decide to shake up your client base at this time too. So all those things can happen as well. But, unexpectedly, if you are not married, for instance, unexpectedly, you could have somebody come in that shakes up your world regarding marriage, that you feel maybe attracted to. Maybe this person is very, a little bit eccentric, that thinks outside the box. Maybe they're very humanitarian. That's very Uranus, right? That all could happen here too. But it can put a focus on, say, your partnerships, whether it's business partnerships and or your marriage partnerships, where you're seeing them having to go through great changes here. And just by virtue of you being involved with them, you are involved with this shake up and wake up that they're having as well. At the same time, we have that Saturn-Neptune operating, and it forms this beautiful favorable trine with your fifth house. So staying with the whole theme of perhaps a marriage partner coming in, that Saturn-Neptune could bring in a real inspirational soulmate into your life, because the fifth house can represent true love and new love. The Saturn-Neptune can say, I'm going to make real this soulmate for you. Now, the fifth house is other things too. This could be creative projects. It could be your own business. You start your own spiritual business and you make it real at this time. And that becomes a business partnership with the seventh house involved with Uranus, all these combining energies together. But it can also bring in perhaps a child or children that exist in your life that becomes truly inspirational, maybe to you and to others at this time too. The fifth house is also things like you expressing your authentic self, your creative self. You'll be given opportunities, positive opportunities to do that here, Sagittarius, with the Saturn-Neptune. You'll especially be able to make that real and work hard at it the first 3 years when we have both Saturn and Neptune together. Then you're left with the Neptune part of it, which hopefully will be spiritual, inspirational. Take care, Sagittarius. So Capricorn, Uranus in Gemini falls in your sixth house. So this really suggests some big shakeups, or potentially wearing many different hats for many years at work. And hey, this could play out positively for you if you're the type of person that likes to have change at work, that you get bored easily. Know that with Uranus in the sixth house, you will not be bored. It can also bring in, things like, scientific breakthroughs as well as new technology. So you might be involved with literally installing or tasked with taking out, changing all that old technology and putting in new technology over a series of many years with Uranus in your sixth house. Yeah, I think that's a very real thing that can happen to some Capricorns here. Now, the other thing is that it's the house of health. And so there could be some major breakthroughs. It also refers to breakdowns with regards to your health. Well, how could that come out? Well, maybe you've been working too hard and you really feel that your health is suffering here, mental health and physical health. And Uranus bings you and enlightens you and said, you got to change this up, boy. And you decide to take that energy and say, I do need to do that. And the Uranus can bring in the change that you want, right? It can set you free from the things that you need to be set free from. Recognizing it's going to be the first stage of that. But this is a long transit for you, Capricorn. But you could also have great enlightenment with regards to, your job and or your health. Unusual technologies, like let's just say, for instance, you are suffering from something bad health. Well, this could be the time period that something unusual develops in regards to science and technology that helps you resolve health problems. When we look at the influence of Saturn and Neptune at the same time, that squares you, Aries, squares you, and involves your fourth house. So this could have you deciding to let go of literally a home that's provided you safety and security, but that you want to change that up. And you may take, say, the 3-year time period where Saturn and Neptune are in Aries together to do that. And sometimes these things are not easy to do. and that you have to work at it, right? That square says you have to work at it. But certainly working at it and just, I would say the Neptune can give you inspiration though as well, but it's you dissolving the old structure. Now, this could play out as simply as renovating your home over the next few years, or renovating a new home over these next years. Neptune can also represent, water. Maybe you have literally some issues with regards to water eroding some of the structure, and you find that out coming up maybe in 2025, and you have to take the next few years for shoring things up there. That could happen here too. But the fourth house is also our family, as well as our home and our mother. So there may be some issues that come up here to do with old age of family members. It doesn't mean everything bad's going to happen, but it may mean that you have to become, say, like a head of the household and make some decisions for the family, for your mother at this time. That's what I'm thinking could happen here too. I mean, still others, I'm thinking about that Neptune representing water. You just may work very hard to get that place that you want by the water over the next few years. And as Saturn leaves Aries, you manifest it, are inspired by this wonderful home that is by the ocean or by a water type thing. That could happen here too. But I think you're going to be working with new technology in your day-to-day job, with Uranus being in your 6th house, Capricorn. Look forward to it. Embrace it. Take care. So Aquarius. Well, Uranus does, along with Saturn as its old ruler, does rule your sign. But Saturn, or Uranus rather, in Gemini, does trine you, Aquarius, and involves your 5th house. Well, for some Aquarians, you're going to suddenly fall in love with somebody, right? 5th house is love, true love. There may be others that get pregnant unexpectedly. That's the 5th house too. Still others are going to build maybe a business, their own business, but they use social media. That's very Aquarian, is social media, and become quite successful at it too. I mean, that 5th house is being your authentic self. And so you're going to be given positive opportunities here to shake that up and make that happen. To be you, right? That's the big thing here. And of course, the 5th house is having fun. So you're going to be positively giving all these unusual opportunities, exciting opportunities to have some fun, Aquarius. Now that's something to look forward to. And remember, of course, you still have Pluto beaming positive energy to transform your life at the same time. And then the Saturn Neptune is going to be in your 3rd house, sextiling you. So this is, both these energies that I'm talking about are very positive energies for you to change your life, to be given opportunities in very positive ways. Now, the Saturn Neptune really speaks to communications. There's going to be some Aquarians that may actually take up some writing of some sort, maybe writing something to do with scientific things or new technologies may come into play here. And you put together some structure maybe for your work. That's the Saturn part over the next few years. And as Saturn goes away in 3 years, you're left with this inspirational piece of work that you've done for 3 years that influences maybe the workplace that you're in. Maybe even some new ways of educating, especially earlier days of educating. That's very 3rd house. I mean, short distance travel is also 3rd house too, as well as sales and commerce. So all these things could come into play as well, especially during the 3 years that Saturn and Neptune will be in Aries, beaming positive energies of, I got to do it my way, right? That's the Aries part. Take care, Aquarius. So Pisces, Uranus in Gemini squares your sign and involves your 4th house. So this speaks to literally you maybe shaking up, breaking up your home. Maybe you're renovating your home. Maybe you're creating from the earth up a whole new home that maybe represents more of who you are. And it just involves some work, some planning. There may be some challenges here too for you. Yeah, either renovating a home could be very much up here. And maybe you have to renovate a home. Maybe something's happening with regards to part of your home that needs to be shored up at this time. And that's part of what you have to deal with. Now, the fourth house also represents not only your family, but your mother. And with the square, it's suggesting that there may be some unusual things, unexpected things happening with your family and or your mother that you have to deal with. I mean, the Uranus part of it also says sets you free. So there's going to be some Pisces that need to break free of the family, that need to break free of the mother. And that's going to be the influence of Uranus here in the fourth house as you work diligently to be you, to be who you want to be, your genuine self. And maybe not be influenced so directly by your family and or your mother, where you keep that at bay and you shake things up here in a consistent manner. This is a long-term transit, so it doesn't mean in 1 year this is all going to happen. But that you get inspired to do this. Now, with the Saturn-Neptune influence, that's in your second house. I did a whole video on this, so you can check the link out below. But I wanted to mention it here with the Uranus and Gemini because this influence is going on at the same time too. And that involves your second house. To me, this is saying in most cases for Pisces, you're going to make the decision to dissolve a structure that you've been using to get money from, your income, over the next few years. And really be left with the Neptune there, which is inspirational ways of making money, right? Maybe making money through charity type things. Just inspirational and spiritual stuff is going to be more to the fore for you to make money from. It can also have you wake up to the reality of your spiritual self, right? Because the second house can represent our value, the value other people have as well as our value that we have of ourselves. Neptune's going to be trying to dissolve your old way of looking at that and leave you to be inspired with this new spiritual self that you'll have. And you may make money from it as a result. Take care, Pisces. So for Aries, this sextiles your sign, and it is in your third house of communications, generally speaking. You're going to have maybe some unusual way of presenting to people. You may get unexpected opportunities to literally present on a stage to people here. It can be unusual opportunities to actually write something, maybe write something that's controversial, right? Uranus likes to shake stuff up. So you may shake people up with something you write or you present. There could be disruptions, though, if you do sort of short distance travel, say as part of your job. You could have unusual disruptions happening where, unexpectedly, this road is closed down. So if you do have your career as, say, a sales rep or something like that, I would definitely check out over these next few years alternative routes to getting to where you need to go to. I mean, that's what I would do if I had this aspect. It doesn't mean it's all bad, by the way. And it's a sextile here, so you're going to get opportunities, right? Sales and commerce can come in here too, especially with regards to new technology and new scientific breakthroughs. You may be given the opportunities here to put some sort of sales and commerce type business together that involves those things as well. But it'll be bringing in that new technology, right? And new scientific breakthroughs potentially. Now, the Saturn-Neptune, as you know, is going to be in your first house, right? And so I've already talked about this in a video, link below for you to maybe check out if you'd like to, but just generally speaking, this is the Neptune part of it is going to be eroding and dissolving old ways of doing things, just generally speaking, in your first house. And this could literally mean structures in your life sort of dissolve out of your life over the next few years to leave you inspired with maybe some spiritual ways of doing your life. I think that's a very positive influence. The Saturn part of it too, just on its own, can bring in new responsibilities for you. And these new responsibilities may come through some spiritual understanding, right? I mean, that's another aspect of this, how this can play out. But I'm seeing the Neptune part too. I'm just getting this inspiration, Aries, that this can bring in, be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't let people hold you back, right? Or don't let the old ways of doing things obscure the truth of who you are. Take care, Aries. So Taurus, we now have Uranus out of your sign, now in Gemini in your second house. So this could do a few things. Uranus can unexpectedly take away some income that you earn or a way of bringing in income. But it can also unexpectedly, boom, bring something in for you, unexpectedly. It can also have this very positive influence of unexpectedly, your value is greater at this point, right? So the shakeup is the Uranus. The second house is the value of yourself. And especially if you are dealing with new technologies or new scientific breakthroughs, you could become a great value to some person, some institution of some sort at this time. Now, this is a long-lasting transit, right? I think I said, let me just see, it's going right the way through. Yeah, 2032. So that's a long time that this is going to be aspecting you. I would say, Taurus, if you have some negative things happen with this where you lose some income, don't let that get you down. Be inspired to know that there's going to be much better, more enlightenment, and more, it's not inspiration in the same way that Neptune is, but Uranus can shake you up in terms of bringing enlightenment your way. And I'm thinking of it lighting up a path that you're maybe not seeing right now. And something negative may happen to then say, but look at this. This is much better for you. So I guess, Taurus, this is one sign where it might be worth your while putting together a vision board. I'm making this video in May time period. So you could maybe put together some vision board of how you want to be earning your income, how you see yourself day-to-day earning income, and put in those positive images of how you especially want to feel. How do I want to feel when I'm earning this income? But this could really bring in some enlightenment, and you could in turn bring enlightenment, like I said, as a result of the money that you earn. Unexpected money could come your way too, by the way. Don't rule that out. The influence of the Saturn-Neptune, I've done a whole video, links below if you want to see my extended video on this, but I wanted to mention it because this energy is going on at the same time. This is in your 12th house. This kind of says to me, developing your spiritual life. Let go of old ways of doing your spiritual life and embrace new, especially inspirational ways of doing the way you do your spiritual life here. You could also be one of the signs that is providing behind the scenes inspiration to dissolve existing structures. Those existing structures could be hospitals, ashrams, government offices, prisons. You could be a central figure here with this 12th house where you assist with dissolving the old ways of doing those institutions to build much more inspirational and spiritual ones instead. Super positive, right? Certainly, 12th house is about letting go. And Neptune on top of Saturn says we want to dissolve this. So certainly if you've got any addictions of any sort, any kind of addiction of any sort, or anything that's kind of hampering you from moving forward with who you are, let them go. Let them go. Good time to clean up your life for sure, and focus on the spiritual things if you can. Maybe even develop, say, a more spiritual part of life. Maybe the Saturn part of it is you getting some kind of certification in the metaphysical world. That's a super positive way to use Saturn and Neptune together for 3 years in the sign of Aries in your 12th house. Take care, Taurus. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that short video. I know I haven't given huge amounts of information, but know that on a monthly basis, I will update all of you on any changes that happen with regards to transits that we have with Uranus in Gemini and other planets as well. This is just to give you a little bit of information regarding mainly Uranus going into Gemini. As always, I love doing people's charts. There's lots of different services that I have. Links are below. Please reach out to me on email and we'll set something up that works for you. I can either do a Zoom call live, or a lot of my clients don't have time for that and they just want me to pre-record it. I can do that too. Please take care of yourself. And with this Uranus in Gemini, allow those enlightened messages to come in through your mind and inspire you to do some revolutionary, evolutionary type changes in your life. Bye for now. Sending everybody lots of love.